Welcome to The Read Along,
a mini book club for your ears.
I'm your host, Scott.
I'm your other host, Anita.
And join us on a journey through a good book,
one chapter at a time.
Do you like talking about movies? Do you like talking about mediocre movies? Do you like talking about how you could have fixed mediocre movies? Well, I certainly do, and you can listen to me, Scott C. Bourgeois, along with my co-hosts Greg Beaver and Liam Creswick, as we give our notes, and I have some notes. You can follow it now on your podcatcher of choice, or support it by visiting patreon.com/IHaveSomeNotes. Had a productive weekend here at home.
Yeah, mostly.
Bunch of stuff done. But most importantly, got out to a bookstore.
Yay!
Which is good because we need a new book.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
For, next week.
And we have one.
We do.
Success.
Hooray. But that's not going to be announced first. No, that's going to come later.
Yeah, that's the later part.
Because first, we're going to have our book club episode.
Yeah, we're not done with this one yet.
It's true. This is the one episode where I really have no idea what's going on coming into it.
Kind of.
I mean, vaguely, but you're the one who actually does all of the book clubbing prep.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad.
Oh, no.
It's not like we have hours to sit and go, deep in depth on this.
No. One of the mistakes we made in some of the earlier episodes was we went way too long on the book club episodes. We've managed to whittle that down a little bit to a more reasonable length.
There have been lots of times where I wish we could. I wish we could record for 2 hours and talk crazy in depth about things. But that's not really our format.
No.
It's not really our style.
We don't want to eat up a bunch of your time like that, and we don't want to eat up a bunch of our time like that. So
It's true.
But with that said, let's get into it. So I guess starting with a brief recap of our previous chapter. The final chapter.
The ending.
In which Gav survives, but Gavrax is dead. He and Eliasha decide to go have a sort of happily ever after as they could, which is to just kind of go and find themselves, maybe learn a little magic along the way.
Yeah.
And the rest of the town stays behind to turn into Evil Wizard Disneyland. And that is where the book ends. So with that said, let's get into our book club episode of Dreadful by Caitlin Rozakis.
Let's start easy. How much did you like or not like this story? What were your favorite parts? That kind of stuff.
I liked it. I thought it was a fun book overall. I enjoyed a lot of the characters. I enjoyed a lot of the fantasy tropes of versions. As I mentioned in the last episode, I had some little quibbles with some of the author decisions, but it's not my book. And I understand and respect where Caitlin Rozakis is coming from as an author, so I'm not angry at the book. It didn't ruin the book for me. I was just like, I might have taken this a little different.
Yeah, okay.
I might have taken this in a different direction.
Yeah. I really liked this one. I enjoyed the use of the setting to explore the deeper themes, if you will. What's a good way to talk about what makes a person without using some kind of magic to change that person? So putting a memory wiped dark wizard, that kind of fantasy setting, is, I think, really smart.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant way to explore that facet of a human personality.
Sure. I agree.
Okay, so it's very obvious, I think, to you and to me and anyone who reads this book, that there are some major themes in this book that are being discovered and discussed and explored, right? Questions of identity, morality, one's inherent sense of self, what shapes a personality and makes you a person. Let's talk about that. Because we touch on it a little bit in the chapters, but overall, she's really exploring, what makes a person, and what a great way to do it, and what an interesting take on it. What would happen if your memory was wiped and you woke up and you just were who you were without knowing who you were. And I realize that makes no sense out of context, but you know what I'm talking about.
If you were forced to act without any of the context of who you are as a person, what would your instinct be in any given situation?
Yeah.
And Caitlin Rozakis has a very, I would argue, optimistic view of people. That removed from context, even someone as evil and depraved as the Dreadlord Gavrax would default to neutral or good overall.
Yeah.
As opposed to choose evil. Further to that, though, there is the underlying message that like people are shaped by their past. People are shaped by their experiences. And Gavrax, it is heavily implied, was. We never find out what that was.
No, not
we
even
never
a little
get
bit.
we never get his excuse for why he's a cruel and evil person. And to be clear, it is just an excuse.
Yeah.
No matter how badly he was treated, he still chose to be evil and
Yes.
to return that cruelty. And Gav now, not just dealing with the aftermath of that, but also without that context, trying to make decisions and finding himself generally just choosing not to be cruel and evil.
Yeah. It's an interesting arc for him because in the beginning, it is strictly self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know who he is, but he recognizes the situation he is in is dangerous and he doesn't want to die. That is a deep-rooted natural instinct in people
Yes.
in general. I don't want to die. But as he continues down with that, continuing trying not to die,
Mm-hmm.
he very slowly learns to care about the people around him because he doesn't want them to die either.
Yeah.
It's all, like I said, it all starts with survival. It's all deeply rooted in that. But it really develops into something a little more intelligent.
Nuanced.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say one of my kind of minor criticisms about Gav's overall character arc is that he's a real sad sack.
Yeah.
We've read several stories now over the course of the read-along where the protagonist is just kind of down on themselves with low self-esteem, and it's a bit depressing. I feel like Gav should have had maybe one or two more wins, something that would boost his self-esteem a little bit. But further to that, further reinforce that choosing to do the good or neutral thing is the right option.
Yeah.
As opposed to him just being down on himself all the time. I feel like that might have been one of the minor changes I might have made.
The little
is to let his self-esteem build itself back up a bit towards the end. And unfortunately, it never really does. I assume that character development happens off-panel years later. But, yeah.
1 year later, when they return to the castle to check on things, having gone on this journey of discovery together. I brought it up earlier in a much earlier chapter. About that sort of philosophical argument about whether someone is inherently good or bad, and that it's obvious where Caitlin Rozakis lands in that, right? And now that we've had the entire book to look at that,
Mm-hmm.
it's like well cemented for me that she clearly stands on like someone is inherently good.
Yeah, again, she has an optimistic take on it.
Yeah. There could have been a turn back where Gavrax returns. You know what I mean? Like if Gav got his memories back and such. And I don't know that even if Gavrax came back memory-wise, right, that it would be the same because of this new experience, right? So it could have deviated and it didn't. She stuck with her thesis the whole time, you know? I think there's something to be said, though, about the choice that Gav made to not pursue getting his memories back and the fight to start over from there instead. To start over as a blank slate and go, okay, I know kind of who I used to be. I could get that back. I could try. I don't want to.
Yeah, I agree. There is something to be said about that.
Right?
Too.
It's a different fight. And I think it's still just as noble as not. He could have tried to get that jar open. He could have had it unmagicked, right? Those memories could have been saved until he could get into them. He didn't. He hesitated for but a moment. I think he just took like a moment of reverence for it and let it go.
I mean, from a certain perspective, you could say that he is the hero who slayed the Dreadlord Gavrax.
Yeah.
Because that guy's dead now.
From a certain point of view.
Indeed.
Okay, let's pivot a little bit because there's another aspect of this story that I really, really loved. I want to talk about the upstairs downstairs of it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? How the residents of this town and the occupants of this castle have just sort of learned to work and survive underneath a constantly overturning new dreadlord authority figure,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And how Gav managed to tap into that by not being terrible anymore. I liked that.
Yeah, that was fun.
I said it over and over again. Almost every chapter, I'm sure, how Orla was my favorite.
It is a fun little kind of deep dive into how the actual castle and staff of an evil dreadlord might function,
Mm-hmm.
which is carefully,
Yeah,
but intelligently.
like how we have to function despite the fact that we have a Dark Lord,
Yeah.
you know? I love the reinforcement that, like, a Dark Wizard is just constantly shooting himself in the foot and not knowing it.
Yeah, for sure.
By harming the people around him that he actually needs to support him.
To thread this all the way back to the inception of high fantasy and to go back to, like, right back to Tolkien in this case.
Okay.
One of Tolkien's theses is that evil ultimately is self-defeating and petty and makes itself small.
Yes.
None of the dark lords who rise up in Lord of the Rings amount to anything. Because at the end of the day, the pursuit of power and all of that cruelty and all of that evil is self-defeating. That's true here as well.
Oh, yeah.
These dark
Blatantly.
lords, these dark lords all ultimately flame out.
It's the difference between strength and power. I don't have a succinct way to put this, but strength is strength, and power, frequently mistaken for strength, is actually a cover for weakness.
Yes.
In some respect, right? Like you said, power is petty, usually.
Can be.
Can be. Which is, again, a cover, right, that says strong, but not really.
Yeah, and I mean, in this book, that can also be applied over on the quote-unquote good side. Because none of these so-called heroes in this book act particularly good.
Not really.
Most of them are just as selfish, self-interested, and myopic as any of the evil characters.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that Zarkanar is functionally more intelligent in this story than any of the good guys. All the way up to the, like, supremely powerful white wizard who opposes him.
Yeah.
Artharno is just as much of a blinkered idiot as any of the other heroes.
No, taking good and bad out of it, power versus strength.
Yeah.
Right? And in all honesty, I know what you just said about Zarkanar, and I do agree with you. I would even give more props to Volevna for being as self-aware as she is about who she is and what she wants.
Volevna is, I would argue, kind of unique amongst all of the evil quote-unquote characters that we meet.
Yeah.
Because she is self-aware.
Very much so.
And I think that maybe has saved her life on more than one occasion.
Her little bit at the end about how I know exactly what I am. I am evil. I enjoy this. This is what I do. This is what I like. This is what I want. And like, props to her. I had more respect for her by the end because of that.
I want to take that back a little bit. Is she evil, or is she just evil according to society?
I would argue evil according to society.
Yeah. I don't think that she particularly enjoys going around, like, marauding in the countryside and hurling lightning bolts at peasants. I don't think she does. I think she's just in it for her own pleasure and freedom, something that this society does not generally ascribe to women.
Yeah.
And therefore she is evil, quote unquote, by default.
Yep. For finding her independence, she has been labeled, because history hates women. We all know this.
Yes.
Anyway, I could go on and on about this, but we only have so much time. So, you touch on this a little bit here and there. Is there anything else you think that you would change?
Not really. I've mentioned my one big thought about Gav's character arc. That's the only thing that I might have changed in the story. And maybe, again, give him one or two more, like, wins so that his self-esteem can be built up a little bit more going into the end. But, I mean, that's about it.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of that I might have changed.
Now that we've reached the very end of the story, I wish we had a little more page time, story time, whatever you want to call it, with Lord Chicken Pants.
A few more inches with Lord Chicken Pants?
Yeah. By the end of his arc, which kind of happens, in the background, he actually has a very heroic arc.
Kinda, yeah.
And I felt like lightly impacted by that. I would have liked that to hit a little harder.
I will, just to play devil's advocate a little
Sure.
bit, because obviously Caitlin Rozakis is being sharply critical and satirical in regards to heroes in fantasy.
Oh, 1,000%.
Did Lord Chicken Pants have much of an arc? Because he did the heroic thing, but I think he would have done that even if he hadn't been a chicken.
Maybe.
I think he would have thrown himself heroically in the way of a sword to save Princess Alyasha the first time we met him. I don't know that he went on much of a journey.
That's what I mean.
And ironically, he screws everything up by sacrificing himself.
Yeah,
Because
kind of.
his blood is royal virgin blood.
Yeah. That's what I mean, though. Like, I would have liked a little more on that. I would have liked it to have been a little juicier.
I actually kind of agree. I think because Caitlin is writing just as critically about heroes as she is about villains, and about this kind of stupidity of the dichotomy between good and evil in high fantasy.
It was great. It was so well done.
It would have been interesting to have an ostensibly heroic character also learn to be more nuanced and gray in the way that an ostensibly evil character is, outside of just Alyasha.
Okay.
But
yeah.
like someone who came into the story as like a gallant hero, learning a little bit of that nuance and making a different choice at the end. And he doesn't really. But I kind of agree with you that maybe he would have if we'd had more page time with him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just a little more.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think I would tweak to make it a little more Nita happy.
Fair.
And again, I'm not right. It's her story.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the ending one more time. In context of the whole thing, right? I brought it up in our chapter about specifically the ending, about how much I appreciated that it wasn't a cheesy romance. Gav doesn't necessarily get the girl, you know, in air quotes. But it ends with this, I think, potentially awesome partnership where these two people are going to, like, mutually assist each other to make themselves better and make themselves happier.
Well, to find themselves.
Yeah.
Alyasha doesn't have anywhere to go back to and doesn't like the role ascribed to her. And Gav is offering her a different path. Come with me, learn magic, let's travel. And he himself needs to find who he is.
Yeah. Another strong theme in this book was all keeping up appearances, right? And how important that was to fit the role. And the fact that by the end of the book, these two are like, look, both of our roles suck. Neither of us want to be here. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's find something that fits us better. I liked that. It sat so much better than, oh, you're actually wonderful and I love you. Hooray. Like, it just feels cheesy and cliche. This feels honest and noble and better.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay. Game time?
Yes. Let's segue into one of Anita's favorite parts of every book club episode.
Make that movie.
I'll just straight up say, I saw someone make an impassioned argument recently how trying to make fantasy stories live action does them a disservice. And that got me thinking, I kind of agree. And so I'm just going to straight up say right now, if I was adapting this into a film, I would animate it.
It's really fun that you should say that because I had a very similar thought.
And here's the thing. I would animate it in the style of like Dark Cauldron.
Oh, okay. That's
Like
not where I went, but okay.
Like a sort of pseudo Disney fantasy thing. Because I think that would in itself serve the satire in a way. If it looked like a high fantasy Disney movie.
Yeah.
But is actually like, oh, the evil wizard's not all that bad and the good guys are actually kind of the worst. I think that would be fun.
Okay, now that you've said that, I like your idea better than my idea. My idea was to give it like an anime style treatment.
Fair, and that admittedly was my knee-jerk thought when I first thought of it. But I actually think that like Don Bluth or Walt Disney sort of, like or Ralph Bakshi sort of look to it.
The old Dragon's Lair game, that kind of, that style, that form of, not necessarily in a game, point-and-click game kind of way, but yeah, to make it look like that so that your magic can be fantastical and stylish.
The villains look very villainous, and the heroes look very heroic, which is undermined by their actions and personalities.
Yeah. Very cool.
I 100% think that that's the way it should be.
And then it's easier to do your magic.
Oh, for sure.
Right? You can get a very specific look when you're drawing it from nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to make it look realistic. And it doesn't have to be, right?
Yeah, and it can be as fantastical as you want.
Exactly.
So, like, all the little magical effects and trinkets, the demons can look particularly fearsome. Like, it's...
And you can make it as horrific or as goofy as you want or as is necessary to set the right tone for what you're doing.
Exactly.
Right?
We're both on the same page.
We're married. I
Yep.
love you. That's what I would do with this. I would give it all of the silliness and humor that it deserves, because some of the things that happen in this are just silly.
Very
outright,
physically slapstick.
right?
Yeah.
And the same thing, make the scary parts as scary as they need to be to hit, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think with that said, it's time to close the back cover of Dreadful by Caitlin Rozakis and announce what we're going to be starting to read next week.
Yeah, right away.
So, Nita, take it away.
All right, here's our blurb. In the sunny city of Singapore, the government takes care of everything, even the weird stuff. Benjamin Taw is a middle manager in the Division for Engagement of Unusual Stakeholders, DEUS. And his job is straightforward. Keep the supernatural inhabitants of Singapore happy and keep them out of sight. Sure, he's overworked and understaffed, but usually people, and senior management, don't see what they don't want to see. But when an entire housing estate glitches out of existence, Ben has to stop the rest of the city from disappearing. He may not have the budget or the bandwidth, but he has the best, if highly irregular and supernaturally inclined, team to help him. Together they'll traverse shadow markets, skyscrapers, and even the stars, all so they can just do their goddamn job.
Join us on a weekly slow burn chapter by chapter read through of City of Others by Jared Poon, available right now wherever fine books can be found. We'll be starting next week with chapter 1, so you'll want to read up on that in time for next week.
Yeah.
In the meantime, as always, you can give us a little rating and review on your podcatcher of choice.
Because we appreciate those.
Yeah, you can also give us your thoughts about Dreadful via social media.
Oh, yes, please. We'd love to hear them. Facebook, Instagram, Goodreads, and Blue Sky. We are at the Read Along on most of those.
Yeah, you can also send us an email.
Oh, yes, please. We'd love that too. You can find us at thereadalong@gmail.com.
And with that said, as always, we love you very much, and we'll see you next time.
This new book has a cat and tentacles on the cover. Woo!
Thank you for joining us on The Read Along with your hosts, Anita and Scott Bourgeois. All Read Along music is by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Cover art is by Aaron Beaver. Be sure to join us on Instagram and Facebook at The Read Along and check out our group on Goodreads.com.